Self-esteem is basically how we value and perceive ourselves, and is based on the opinions and beliefs that we have about ourselves. And so, depending on what kind of self-image you have about yourself, you might like and value who you are as a person, be more assertive, try out new things, show kindness towards yourself, and believe that you matter, which would be called having a high level of self-esteem. But compare this to someone who always talks negatively about themselves, doesn't really like who they are, often experiences fears of doubt and failure, and etc. This would be called And if you're in the middle, I guess you don't mind yourself. Anyway, the things that affect our self-esteem are different for everyone. Someone could be really fat, but isn't really bothered by it, while someone else who were to gain a couple of pounds would do something like this. But moving on, no matter where you and your self-esteem stand on the spectrum, improving one's own self-esteem could always be beneficial and appreciated. And to do that, we must first look a little deeper at the term self-opinion. Now, is that the same as self-esteem? Maybe, but I was reading a certain book written by Robert Greene, and it basically said that people have a certain perception about themselves that shall be called their self-opinion. Someone could look in the mirror and find themselves fit, tall, handsome, and sexy. Or they could find themselves fat, ugly, and short. Notice how I have the same characters drawn with the same credentials, because whether this opinion about themselves is objectively true or not doesn't really matter. What matters is how people perceive their own character and worthiness. And what I also understand is that Robert Greene also says in the book that there are three qualities to people's self-opinion that are nearly universal. I am autonomous, and so acting out of my own free will. I am intelligent in my own way, and I am basically a good and decent person. Now, what does this all mean? Let's see. Basically, if you have all three of these up, your self-opinion is more likely to go up, and so you're more likely to obtain a higher self-esteem. Theoretically. Oh, and what is meant by the first one is that the more someone feels like they are the holder of their life and the master of their fate, the more likely it is that this point goes up. What is meant by the second one is that if someone feels intelligent in their own way, this point goes up. But at the same time, if you were to see yourself as stupid, exactly. Now, you don't have to be Einstein, but when you're intelligent in your own way, in some sort of field, you can start to tell yourself, I may not be good in math or be athletic, but at least I am a master in the field of amateur violin play. So, yeah. And what is meant by the third one is that we like to see ourselves as supporting the right causes, treating people well, and be seen as team players, and not lazy. The more you can look in the mirror and perceive yourself as a good and decent person, the more, you get the point. But to be good and decent in doing what? I'll come back to that. Anyway, I personally also think that the way other people think about you and perceive you also influences the way you would perceive yourself. You may decide for yourself whether that is a good thing or not. And now, if we were to summarize everything that I was blabbering about in this video, self-esteem is basically the way you perceive and value yourself. And to genuinely build a higher level of self-esteem, one could start to find ways of gaining more freedom for themselves, find ways to gain intelligence in their own way, and to be more of a good and decent person. Sort of. Oh, and your environment also plays a role. But here is the thing, a small little disclaimer. Please keep in mind that trying to improve the way you see yourself is it's kind of all subjective. And what I mean by that is that you could feel like you're the most free person in jail. It could be that you view yourself as really smart because you understand basic math, and I see myself as good and decent because I pay my taxes. Well, I wouldn't say that makes you a good person, but I hope you can all see my point. And in conclusion, I was thinking about exercises to genuinely build someone's self-esteem, and I came up with a little game, which might help potentially. Maybe. A good practice to become more conscious of your own value and worth is to write down at least 5 good things about yourself that you happen to find good in yourself. And they have to be true. Something that you can be proud of that you accomplished, or something that you actually feel good about having or being. We often forget the more positive things about ourselves and pay more attention towards the negative. So by writing down the more positive things, we might look in the mirror with more dignity. And if you cannot write anything, well, at least you tried. And if you're able to write down more, by all means, write more. Anyway, I really hope I did something in this video. And thank you for watching. Take care.